outbound doesn't exist as its own bubble. I think that's a myth that people make. If you're doing outbound alone, it's not going to work. If you're doing inbound alone, it's not going to work. If you're doing community alone, it's not going to work.
Hey V, I'm super excited to have you join me for this episode of Coffee with Closers.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've came across you because I started watching some of your own YouTube videos teaching people how to do cold outreach and scale their outbound efforts, and come to find out that you have a couple of different products in this space. And that's kind of got me interested in you as a founder and wanted to kind of hear your story. But every entrepreneur has an interesting story of how they got started. I saw that you had a successful exit. You founded 2 companies in the middle of COVID. You've grown that to over 14,000 users on one of them and well over 6,000 users on another one. And you're going against some of the biggest players who've raised hundreds of millions of dollars and have a company valuation of over $1 billion. I think Outreach is over $1 billion. Salesloft is over $1 billion. They just had an exit, recently had an exit. Yeah. Kyle is already retired from that exit. And then obviously there's a lot of other players, like CRM companies getting into the sales automation and enablement space. So here you are, a startup in the middle of pandemics, and you are trying to go against all these giants, and it's completely bootstrapped. So you kind of had some success to get you to give that confidence to go and start this. So can you share a little bit about your journey of becoming an entrepreneur and how you got here?
I think it's the exact opposite. If I had some sort of success, I wouldn't go down this path because it's setting myself up for it. Honestly, the story is not that crazy, or at least I don't think it is. I was a developer, worked for a bunch of agencies, thought I could do this myself, did the sales part. I started a Udemy course, taught people how to do React, and then someone messaged from the course saying, hey, do you want to help out my company, do some work? And I was like, oh, cool, I don't mind. And I got paid for it, and I was like, great, we can start the agency off that. Started agency as everyone knows, it's a rough ride, but God bless, we're lucky enough to work on some pretty fantastic projects in Australia, some crypto projects across the world that gave us a bit of a name and a bit of funding. But the goal of the agency was never to sort of grow the agency. It grew, but the goal of the agency was always to act as a bedrock to build other businesses, test, try, and learn from other people that we're building stuff for, and then launch our own product. We had lots and lots and lots of failures. I always accounted to about I think if I was just doing real estate investing, I'd be in a very different place right now, because I probably have like 40 homes with the amount of money I've spent on building businesses and failing startups. So we moved on from that. We built a product in the analytics space called Scenario, exited that during COVID times, just because the market was switching and it made sense to leave at a very quick pace. And then from there on in, we launched something called SmartWriter. And the reason why SmartWriter came into market was simply because we were actually using a lot of outbound to sell to our customers in Scenario, because our customers are small businesses, restaurants, cafe owners, and they did not exist on Facebook. They were not necessarily searching for our product on Google, and we're also selling to accountants. So the only way we could do this is through outbound. And we had a bunch of VAs writing out personalized messages for us. And then ChatGPT came out. At that time it was called OpenAI in beta. We were amongst the first 100 people to get access to it. And we said, why don't we just take what these people are doing and then just wrap it on top and then try. We have the training data. We know what type of scripts work, what type of scripts don't work, and let's just automate that. So that's how SmartWriter sort of came into play. And then from SmartWriter, we integrate with all these external players. And then someone said, all these external software tools are crappy, expensive, and not worth it. Do you have something? And we ourselves were using a competitive tool at that point, and we said, one tiny tweak, and I think we've got something in the market. And that's exactly what we did, and that one tweak worked well for us. We initially launched saying, I remember I'll find this one day when, God willing, we have our own exit or whatever it happens. And I told my team, hey, don't expect more than 10K MRR out of SmartLead. That's probably how much we're going to be getting, right? Obviously, it's a very different story right now. We've crossed a couple of thousand users. We send 8 million emails a day, every day right now. We've got 150,000 connected mailboxes, I think so, to our platform, and the team's growing. So yeah, it's the start of a very, very exciting journey. And we're taking on the big ones, the outreaches, the replies, and all the big players in the market.
Yeah, I didn't know it was the reverse order. I thought it was the Smart Leads that was founded first, because you were doing outreach. And then I thought when the AI came out, you went and created the SmartWriter.
No. So SmartWriter is from about 2020 or 2021. SmartLead will be 1 year next month.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But you're getting more popularity with the smart leads because it seems to be that's more popular with people
correct,
than the
correct,
smart writer.
correct.
That's kind of a crazy.
Well, what we've learned very quickly with SmartWriter was the difference, and I guess this might help some founders or not, is you need to realize the difference between a product, a commodity, and a business. And
Uh-huh.
we learned very quickly that SmartWriter is a product. And SmartWriter still exists, it's still a running
Hmm.
business, still makes money, still grows. But we know for a fact as a business that as a company, we can't exactly depend upon SmartWriter to grow because it's so commoditized and it's also a competitive space. With Smart Lead, we have a lot of the signals that work in our benefit, from retention, stickiness, and actual revenue driving. And
Hmm.
also, maybe this is I don't mean this to be like a shunt to every other nth business that's built on ChatGPT, but it's very similar to building your home on someone else's land. Because if your entire business is just a wrapper on top of ChatGPT, if ChatGPT decides to change anything in their policies, you're screwed,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
that platform risk was always something we were fearful for, and we wanted to take ownership of what we had, and that's where obviously Smart Lead also helps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice warning there because a lot of products are coming in, and every YouTube video is about how to go build a product with
Yeah. Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely government regulations and things that's probably going to
Yep.
affect how the product is going to evolve over time.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
so, I was looking over your LinkedIn. I mean, you have so many accomplishments. You are, just based on LinkedIn, you have, obviously a successful exit. You're a speaker, author, trainer, entrepreneur, advisor, investor, inventor, founder in multiple tech companies, and you actually have some really reputable brands as customers that you've been able to acquire over these years. So, of all the things you've accomplished as an entrepreneur, what is the one thing that you're super proud of?
It's a loaded question there. Um, what am I super proud of? I think there's still a lot to be achieved to be proud of anything, or maybe I'm just self-inflicting on that side. I think I'm actually glad that I was able to be of some sort of belief for a bunch of people to put the
Mhm.
faith in me, myself, or the team, to trust us to then let us be the source of bread and butter for them, for their home. So I
Mm.
think it's a lot of risk anyone takes to join a random company and a random person, and the fact that they're able to go ahead and trust us, I think that's something. If anything, I think there's a lot
Mhm.
to be achieved in terms of what I can be proud of. And the other thing I can definitely say, if I want to talk on Smart Lead side at least, is I do believe I'm very proud of the team to build something that people use to make money and grow a
Mhm.
business, go on a vacation, grow their company. We get these amazing messages from people saying, hey, due to your software, I've added $40,000 in revenue, thank you. Right?
Mhm.
We built our whole business on you, we could not exist without you. And I think that's very, it's a great feeling, and it
Mhm.
only motivates us to push a lot more. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you kind of, wrapped your why in there, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious also what kind of your, what's your personal motives?
Sure.
Are there any other drivers keeps you going every day?
Sure. I think every immigrant has the same driver, right? Is be there for the family, take care of the family, do the whole thing. So it's I'm no different from every other
Mhm.
person who has the same vision. So yeah, I think my why sort of still lies on that same premise.
Understood.
Yeah.
So obviously, you've built a couple of companies, you've learned a few things. I
Yeah.
think some of the things that I read from your LinkedIn said, when you were helping other people build products, you're like, oh, I have to figure out how to go build a product myself. So you ended up kind of shifting toward building your own product, and obviously have some successful stories to tell there. But are there any regrets from this entrepreneurial journey that you might be able to share with us?
Yeah, not becoming a marketer sooner.
Mm.
I think I was a developer first, salesman second, then a marketer third. I think the right way should have been a developer and marketer first, a salesman. Sorry, a salesman first, and developer and marketer second.
Mm-hmm.
No
Mm-hmm.
one cares about the code or they care about the outcome. And
Mm-hmm.
it took me 2-3 years to get to that. Like 2017 to 2019 was a like learning journey that people really
Mm-hmm.
didn't care about how technical and sound you were. They just cared about whether you made the money.
So tell us a little bit more about the specific differentiation between just the sales role versus the marketing role that you as a founder plays.
Sure. I mean, maybe I'll step back, not on a role perspective. I'll speak just on a messaging perspective. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
when this podcast comes out at this point. Maybe the website is even down, but 521.com.au, which is my agency, you'll probably be the only agency, and I'm pretty sure at this point it's changed, but we'll probably be the only agency in the world where we do not talk about the tech that we use.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to our website, you'll only see company this, raise
Mm-hmm.
this much money, acquire these
Mm-hmm.
many users. So it's the switch from a developer mindset where we start thinking about, we do Vue.js and we do Vue 3 and we do React and we do all these cool technologies, and pushing
Mm-hmm.
that from more technology outcome to a more output outcome, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
The tools we use are obviously going to be nascently the best. That's sort of a base given. Let's go beyond that. Working with us is going to put you in the best seat possible to have financial success or cause impact for your customers, which is what we all want. So I think that switch in mind is kind of what made all the difference for us.
Yeah, and I'm also, I think the way I discovered you is through your YouTube video teaching about cold outreach, right? So the reason I was asking more on the marketing side, most founders, like you said, either they're a tech founder or a visionary entrepreneur, right? They just have an idea. And oftentimes the idea man is just out there, giving idea, or the vision, the tech founder is just behind the scene building a product and not necessarily in the front of the company, right? But if you can't build brand awareness and create demand for your product, you can build an amazing product when no one is coming to buy, right? And you can force your salespeople to go sell as much as you want, but it will become a lot difficult because nobody heard of you and they don't think that they need this product yet. So like when you talked about the importance of marketing, I think that's something fundamentally overlooked by a lot of founders. And then when the investors come asking for money, they're like, oh yeah, we got to scale up. What can we do? Let's just dump some money into Google Ads and figure out how to get more buyers, right? So what advice would you give entrepreneurs and founders, especially about the importance of investing into that marketing, seeing that to be an investment, not as a cost center?
Yeah. So controversial, not controversial. It changes every day, right? I'll tell you this. So I feel like maybe our product at Smartly is in a bit of a unique place, but engineering can't exist without marketing. Marketing can't exist without engineering. And marketers need to sell something. Engineers need to build something to be sold. So this whole one needs to exist without the other is generally something I don't tend to want to go into as a battle, because I do believe they're not mutually exclusive. They're inclusive. One needs to exist for the other to exist. But it is very safely well and said that without a growth engine or something that is an acquisition model, you can build the best damn thing in the world. No one's going to come. That day and the thesis of build and they will come is just not a thing. It's not a thing. Right? But at the same time, you can market something really well, but the market catches on. And if you're selling a shitty product, they will catch on. So if you were to ask me to choose between one or the other, yes, I'll always choose marketing, because that's what drives revenue, right? But at the same time, that drives short-term revenue. If you want elongated revenue, that you want to build a company, right? Then you need to have core engineering. Like Smartly works in a crowded market simply because, and I say this with the utmost faith in my team and our ability, we have the best deliverability engine. I can say that with full confidence. But that alone is not enough. We need to have a strong enough marketing front to confirm to people that we do in fact have the best deliverability engine. So one brings in people, the one gets the people to stay. So without going on a tangent, if you put a gun to my head saying which one, I'd say marketing. But if you gave me a bit of a chance, like if you had a bit of a tea coffee break, I'd say marketing first, but then engineering definitely is necessary.
I'm seeing a lot of other founders, especially on LinkedIn now, either they have left a company, they were, fast growth, they were probably in the product side of the company and they had this other idea, they're going, and now they're creating LinkedIn newsletter, doing LinkedIn polls, building an audience, and in the hope of building a product, right? So they're really creating research reports and presenting reports, testing the interest level of the, target audience, giving them beta versions of the software. I'm seeing a lot of that, buzz being created before the product is even available, right? So if you talk about which is first, sometimes it's almost counterintuitive. Oh, go sell once you have the product versus hey, don't even worry about the minimum viable product. See if this idea could be tested and validated before you go invest time and energy, right? So I'm even seeing that. By doing so, I think they accelerate the growth and adoption of the product too, because of the fact that there was already buy-in from the audience that were already engaging with your content and contributing to your research from early on.
I agree. I think if you have an audience, is the most important thing. That's I'll be honest with you, Smartly exists because of some key partnerships with some people who had an authority and audience built up. So if you can do that, always do that. Always. You're going to save yourself a ton of time, energy, and effort. I think his name is Kunal Shah, guy who runs Cred in India. He's got such a massive following. He's like, we don't need product managers. I just simply put a LinkedIn post saying, hey, should I do this or this? And the customers vote. You don't need a product manager to go run interviews, jump on a call. Nah, it's just one LinkedIn post, yes or no. He gets upvotes and downvotes, and it's done. Feedback's done, and we're now building features that people want. So again, I'll always say, right, marketing first, but engineering second. But if you can build an audience, build an audience. If you can get a newsletter, get a newsletter. You can do a YouTube channel, do a YouTube channel. Everything that is a tier one asset, that means it compounds, versus a Twitter account that perhaps dies off quickly, or LinkedIn post that might die. Anything that can actually have cumulative value, I always want to back up.
So let's talk a little bit about, the outbound versus the inbound in the acquisition side of the business, right? So you clearly are building a product that's focused on outbound. So you're going to be a little bit biased about the answers, but I'm curious, right? A company that doesn't have any brand awareness and who hasn't had any established credible customer base to go, warrant attention from somebody, how much energy should be put onto the marketing front? Like, I'm sure it kind of varies as the company matures and grows. Like, how would you budget for those customer acquisition side, right? Inbound and demand gen versus pure outbound and cold.
Yep. Again, perhaps I might get some gurus angry by saying this as quote Jesse. Outbound doesn't exist as its own bubble. I think that's a myth that people make. Outbound exists in tandem with everything else. Just like any marketing activity cannot exist. Just you can't just have a community without a brand. You can't have a brand without this. So you can't go send the best offer you have on an outbound engine without actually having some sort of brand awareness. It's 2023. People are very educated. Customers are smart. You can't just go ahead and sell something basic and expect them to say, oh yeah, I'll sign up to this dude, here's 10 grand. And whoever's telling you that is lying, and I can back that up with millions of data points that they're lying. It is a blend. If you're doing outbound alone, it's not going to work. If you're doing inbound alone, it's not going to work. If you're doing community alone, it's not going to work. You want to send outbound messages, but then you want to have that backed up with a beautiful website that has testimonials, reviews, and a clear message offering of what you've done for people, right? Or a social presence. They come and look at your LinkedIn profile. We get customers because of the team's reputation, or even mine on LinkedIn. They see that this person knows what he or she is saying and that they're speaking about a topic in authority, and they clearly have data to back it. That is how it works. Like, someone sees an outbound message I send out from one of our domains, and they're like, yeah, okay, you can track it. You can track every single person clicking on our, my LinkedIn profile, viewing it. And I can see that this person, we sent an outbound message to, has viewed my profile. And only then and then alone are they willing to take a demo, right? So invest in both. You can't just invest in outbound alone. You can't invest in inbound alone. And I will obviously say inbound has a compound effect. Outbound is what you put in is what you get out. But with inbound, like SEO and content, social media presence, it's always, a compounding effect. So outbound will solve for problems immediately, and inbound will help you with the long tail cycle. But both of them have to be done together.
So earlier you said you're super proud of the fact that your product is superior when it comes to delivery. And anybody who has done cold outreach knows that's like the number one problem to solve for is the delivery. Then you worry about the messaging. Then you tweak your call to actions and whatnot. So like I think the biggest struggle that most people have when they have tested, I mean, part of it is they don't really have all the tactics figured out. They have one box sending hundreds and thousands of emails and then sending the same message over and over again, and it catches on pretty fast because all these email providers know when it's a cold email. But do you believe, I mean, in terms of the volume, like you even said, like you have 150,000 boxes connected, millions of emails being sent. What is the future? Because it is going to flood everybody's inbox. More smart leads are coming out every day, and then AI is writing more emails. What is that? Like, you think there comes a point that it's just a diminishing return on investment for even just cold outreach emails?
That's been something that was said since, I don't know, 2005, 6, 7, and it's defeated. No, email will always be a fundamental communication layer, and it's the only thing that is algorithm free, as much as we need to fight deliverability engines, etc. Yeah, people will get more numb to conversations, but that's how it is. How many ads have you seen today? You and me both don't know, but we're numb to it, right? Like Facebook, you open Facebook and you're hit with ads. Instagram, you're hit with ads. Your TV, you're hit with ads. As consumers, we do get numb, which does mean it is a volume game to an extent, and which is why I say email alone will not solve your problems. It is a blend. It is one of the many pillars in your growth engine that you need to focus on. Just doing one step alone is not going to get you that outcome. Just like writing a blog and expecting it magically to drive all the traffic is not going to work. You want to create that blog, then you want to send that blog to all the people who have high authority on a good domain authority, and tell them, hey, do you want to backlink to me, right? Because I'm good at what I do, or this blog has a lot of high value content. And that backlinking acquisition is done through cold email or something that is an outbound engine. Any marketing engine it's a cycle. It has a trough and a crest. Does that mean it's the end of the world with AI coming in? No, not at all. It just means it makes life easier, and it weeds out the really crappy people from the really good people. Because the more competition that comes in, the less people try doing something, and the less people try doing something, the more easy it is for people who actually know what they're doing to succeed. So that's how I approach it. Maybe I'm approaching it in the optimistic way, but I see no threat at all. You do need to adapt. You need to manage. You do need to work through it, but The solution is not by assuming email is an end all be all, but it's just be like, all right, it is competitive, it is difficult, that is no lie behind that, but that doesn't mean you want to go ahead and start over sending and being more pedantic to your customers. But it means not just doing email, it means doing LinkedIn as well. It means also going and doing WhatsApp. It also means doing and reaching out to them on a phone call or an SMS approach or an omni-channel cycle to reach out to your lead, and then blending that with a brand awareness engine, which is maybe running Facebook ads or even hitting your hitting your website with just authority building, like reviews, case studies, things that drive authority to the customer. Daniel Fazio said this really well, is the success of a business is directly proportional to the amount of social media or testimonial success that you have, case studies that you have. And I think that's absolutely true.
So let's talk about the cold outreach side of the email, the thing, right? So your product is obviously designed to do unlimited boxes, can send unlimited emails. There's all sorts of stuff, but it's not about just sending more emails, right? The volume alone doesn't solve the problem either, right? That's part of the equation, but it's not all. So what are some of the things you've seen really work well, right? You talked about the importance of having blogs and content research and things like that, but it also affects delivery when you start to inject a lot of links into your cold outreach emails, and it's not going to get delivered because it's going to get caught by spam filters. So what's the fine balance between just pure text only email versus also calling them to go take a look at maybe your content pieces or your newsletter, your videos or your other client testimonials?
That's always the second email. That's always the second email. So the intent of having these assets that you want to go ahead and send to a lead that is also a call to action on a secondary layer, that is done on a follow-up message. It's not done on the original message. The way we operate, or what we've learned, is once the first email gets delivered, it's almost creating like a pipe for every other message to go through. So as long as the first one gets through, which is all the focus, everything else can come right after. And people have different techniques and tactics to do that. So some people will just send the first email, and then right after the first email is sent, they'll say, oops, I forgot to send you this little piece of the puzzle. So you've already done your deliverability game on the first piece, and then you're sort of latching on the success of the first email to send out the second message, where you can make it as HTML heavy with all the links and all the wazoo that you want. So that's the trick that I can mention.
So if you had like from your customers, I'm sure like you're obviously looking at the number of emails going out and the type of emails. Are there anything that you've seen as a commonality that is actually getting them the most amount of replies?
No, that's the golden egg answer everyone asks. I think the people who get the best replies on a data level, I can't give a direct answer because there's so many factors that apply to it. But the people that get replies are people who invoke emotion. Bad replies are also good replies. And what I mean by that is if you send a message that's triggering enough, right? The worst type of marketing is a marketing that does not evoke an emotion, right? You want them to be angry, you want them to be happy, but you never not want them to care. You always want them to care. So that's my golden egg with anyone who asks me with growth or marketing. You always want a response. So neutral marketing is never good marketing, especially as a startup. When you are a $1 billion business, yes, you have like 10 layers of legal to go through before you claim something. But when you're a startup, it's YOLO. So anyway, coming back to that, the single most important factor when I speak to customers who have extremely successful campaigns, when I log into the account, I'm like, there's something wrong with the data, and we look at it, they're crushing it, and I jump on a call because I want to learn from them. They're simple. The easiest answer is they know the right person, they know the right problem that person faces, and they sell it to them. It's super easy. Like sometimes when it's one of those things, right? It's like you go through like all this trouble, and then when you finally hit gold, you're like, oh, is that all it took? But you don't realize that it's the journey that you went through to get to that. Is that all it took? And that is that all it took is honestly as simple as selling water to someone who's thirsty and not selling water to someone who's already full, right? You can sell someone who's the perfect ICP, right? Let's just say you're selling protein powder, right? And you're selling a protein powder right outside the gym. Your perfect persona, right? But guess what? One little nitty bitty piece that you didn't include in the conversation is the protein powder you're selling is vegan, right? And maybe gym buffs don't care about vegan protein powder and they want the raw meat and all that kind of jazz. Perfect persona, perfect product, but it's not exactly the right persona, right? Because you're selling it to people who don't care about it. But perhaps you need to go to gyms that are more health conscious, that care more about the vegan lifestyle. And if you sell to them, then that's the right audience. So it's not just about selling to the right ICP because you've read some blog saying, yes, find the right ICP and sell them the product. It's about finding the right ICP in your journey. That means that person actually matches the exact match, that subset. That means you're selling protein powder that is vegan to a person who cares about the vegan lifestyle. That's when you got the right fit.
So I have a question as a follow-up. Obviously, you probably have customers that are selling services and customers that are probably selling software. Are there clear distinction between who actually is winning better? Because I think, at least from my experience, software tend to get a little bit better attention. It's like this cool tool. Oh, I want to give it a shot. I want to hear it. But anytime when you're promoting some sort of a service, they already have some misconceptions about it. Oh, we don't want to pay for this or that, right? Like, so do you see any data that validates
No, it's
that?
quite the opposite, actually. I think it's easier to sell services than it is to sell software, because software and email is a very low return investment. Because email, you should not be selling anything that's less than $1,000, right? Like, I mean, look, I'll take that back, because we did sell a lot of Smartly through email, right? But the email that we sold was not $39 tickets, right? We were selling enterprise plans to customers, right? Those are the ones who signed up. But if we just work on an averages, right? You have 100,000 people that match your criteria.
ICP.
Yeah, ICP, right? Out of the 100,000, let's just be practical, right? I'm not going to go with optimistic. I'm going to go with non-realistic. That means conservative numbers. Let's say you have a 60% open rate. Not bad. But we know we don't track open rates. We don't care about open rates. That's a bullshit metric to work with, but sorry for my language, but it's just something. So we'll just say 60,000. Now we're left. Have opened your message. Out of that 60,000, you have a reply rate of maybe about, if you're doing, again, a crappy-ish job, you're 15% reply rate, right? So that's about around 7,000. Let's just go with that, right? 7, 8, 9,000. Out of the 9,000 that reply, you have about, again, crappy numbers. You're looking at about maybe a 6 to 5% positive reply rate. A good reply rate is about 15%, but we'll go with the bottom end. So from 9,000, we're at 5% of 9,000, which is about 400, right? So out of the 400 that reply, we are going to expect, give or take, around maybe an 80% show up. If you do your show up ratio correctly, you do the automation on Calendly, you educate them, you motivate them, you do all the branding, the testimonials while they're going to be hyped up to show up, right? So let's say 80% of the 400 show up, so that we're left around 320, I think. So that's I might be wrong there, but 340. You're a killer salesperson, but still, luck doesn't hit sometimes. You hit a 7 out of 10, right? Most of the times, right? Oh, sorry. Let's just go break it down. You're pretty okay with your job, you only get 6 out of 10 hits. So about 350, you get 6 out of 10 hits out of that 350. So you're left with about 190 people. You're selling a ticket of about $1,500, maybe $1,000, right? It's 190 G's, right? Obviously, I've summarized something very complex into a single conversation, but the fact is, it's a numbers game. But the same thing, if I was selling a $39 plan, all that effort for 190 into $40 is like eight grand. You can make better money off Facebook ads or literally putting a sign outside a place. But if you're selling $1,000, you can very clearly see, and these are not numbers I'm making up. These are numbers customers are making right now. I open my analytics, and you open our Slack channel. Someone just posted saying that they just pushed out an email. They closed a $4,000 deal. It's very possible. So yeah.
Obviously, I can sit here and talk for hours, and I have to be respectful of your time. And you're in Australia, completely 15 hours ahead of mine. So certainly I appreciate you sparing this time with me. A couple of last questions. Obviously, there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this. Some of them are, trying to get started. You clearly have shown that anyone with the desire to do something, right, even without any funding or backing, you can go do it. So what advice would you give someone who's trying to do maybe a bootstrapped SaaS company?
Growth first, product later, engineering last, right? Focus on getting some users, focus on building an audience, and then after that, try to solve the audience. So I think if you know who you're selling to and you can somehow curate an audience first, sell to them, it makes your life easier, which is kind of places on what you said, like all these product managers who are quitting and starting like LinkedIn newsletters, the smartest thing you can do, right? Like you're working full time, before you quit, build a newsletter, just acquire an audience that you can sell to, right? And then do the simple math, saying now I've got 50,000 subscribers. That's a big number. Let's say I've got 10,000 subscribers. That is very possible for you to do if you have something that is of value. What can I sell to 10,000 people using just core mathematics, saying that I have a 3% to 5% conversion rate? And what is the maximum I can push? $59. That will replace my salary. Start from there. I think that's the best thing I can mention is start with growth first, and then find out what you want to sell to the people that you've acquired. So that's what I would do if I really want to summarize this. Or the second thing I'll tell to every founder is just keep trying. It's 6 years of me, bumping through different ideas and businesses, and something kind of maybe has stuck. We don't know yet. Tomorrow will be a different day, but keep trying.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Most people only know you now with the popularity that you're getting with the product that you built and the fast growth, and no one knows the 6 years of toil that went behind the back.
Yeah.
So obviously you're building multiple companies, you're doing a show yourself, you have a YouTube channel, you're creating product, you're doing all that. You even take sales calls today. So do you have any productivity hack? What are some of the things that are really working for you to be able to work super efficiently?
The irony of you asking that question, and I feel like I'm the most unproductive person in the world. Self-diagnose yourself for ADHD and then reverse everything else and be hyper focused on trying to do that. No, I think it's really maybe ignorant, but sometimes it's just a matter of saying, have I hit my target? No, that's all you need. It's focusing on discipline, not motivation. And I think that's taken me a lot of lessons to learn. But it is absolutely factually true. I came back yesterday and it was some ridiculous hour, and I saw a message that I needed to respond to. It was a refund, right? I could have done that tomorrow. I was like, just got to do it, man. Just got to do it. So I think it's called Eat the Frog or something, which is like, just get this stuff done. And then
Ryan Tracy.
Yeah. That's what. So to be more productive, I will say this is definitely something that has helped. And it's difficult to do. It's a concept of showing up every day and showing up as little as possible, but just showing up. I think this is from the principle of atomic habits, where if you don't want to do something, you want to be focused, just don't do the entire task, do like 5 minutes of the task. And then keep doing that again and again and again until you actually do the whole task. And I think that makes all the difference. Is if you focus on the process, the outcome will happen. If you do 10 push-ups every single day, whether you like it, whether I like it, whether whatever likes it, you will gain muscle. It's just inevitable, right? So I think if you put in the reps, the outcome will happen.
Yeah, I think the Malcolm Gladwell also kind of teaches similar concept to you, right? Like 10,000 hours for excellence, whatnot.
Yeah.
So one last question. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't do it again. If I knew what I knew now, I'm like, if I were to do it all over again, focus on growth first. I would build an audience. If I was 23 or 22 right now and I was watching this video, I would dump everything. I would not focus. I would work full time. I'd take a great job that pays me really well, and I would build a YouTube channel. I would put all my life, energy, and effort that I physically possibly can think of and build a YouTube channel, grow that to 150, 200,000 subscribers, and on that way make a crap ton of money. And honestly, sell a course, build a business, do anything I want, because I've got the audience and the authority.
Well, what a great advice. V, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sparing this time with me. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Samuel.
This episode of Coffee with Closers is brought to you by One IMS, a leading digital marketing agency helping businesses win new customers. To request a free marketing ROI audit, please visit oneims.com. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. To make sure you never miss an episode, please subscribe.